people don't think about how frequently in the future their life will be punctuated by tragedy and catastrophe. And so they don't prepare themselves properly for that. And it's because they're afraid, well, and because they don't want to bear the responsibility. But that's not wise, because first of all, you can open your eyes and bear the responsibility, and that works out a lot better for everyone, including you.
Actually, that brings to mind the word that you always use is sacrifice. You always emphasize on the value of sacrifice, and you see it as a kind of like it has some kind of redemptive power. Can you talk?
Let go of what's in your way.
So what is sacrifice? How do I know what do I need to sacrifice?
Oh, you probably know that on a day-to-day basis. I mean, one of the things you can do, and I suppose this is a function of something akin to prayer. You can get up in the morning and think, okay, I have to organize my day so that by the end of the day, I'm either slightly ahead or no further behind. And perhaps I also want to have a day that is engaging and meaningful. Those are decent conditions. So you ask yourself, well, what do I have to do to make sure that occurs? Well, if you ask a question properly, you will get the answer. Might not be the answer you want, but you can get an answer. Well, here's fourth, it's your conscience in some sense. If you just sit now and you think, what have I been putting off that's going to get me in trouble? And you really want to know, you'll know instantly. Well, then you go and deal with those things. And what do you sacrifice? You sacrifice moment-to-moment impulsive pleasure to engage in difficult activities that will solve looming problems. And most of the time, you don't have to do that with all your time. But sometimes when you're in crisis, you do. Your life is nothing but that. It's nothing but staving off additional rising water. Well, but there's certainly advantages to facing that forthrightly. The psychological literature is clear on that. If you run from something that intimidates and frightens you, it gets bigger and you get smaller. If you turn around and face it, well, now and then that's fatal, but most of the time that makes you bigger and it's smaller. And the sacrifice is the willingness to let go of what's impulsively attractive now so that things are better in the longer terms and for more people, right? So it's a cold virtue in some sense. And it isn't associated, obviously, with happiness. It's more associated with something like conscientiousness, because it means, if you act in the moment so that you're bearing the responsibility for the future, that's a heavy load. It's hard to be happy under those circumstances. Generally, people want to forget about their problems and forget about the future when they want to be happy. But if you take on the load of the future in the present, at least in measured doses, then you can ensure that the suffering that will manifest itself in the future is minimized, and that's definitely worthwhile at every possible level. The unnecessary suffering is minimized at every level of analysis. That's almost self-evidently a worthwhile pathway.